Say hello to Mr. T. He's my personal assistant. I'm sorry, but she's not in right now, but that's her assistant. Thank you, Todd Cherry. Listen, T and I, we're sitting here and we're listening to Rick Rubin's interview with Angus Fletcher. And it got Mr. T and I thinking. Right, Dink? That's right. He's a neuroscientist, a PhD from Yale, a professor at Ohio State, and somehow the Army brought him in because they didn't want more order and discipline out of their people. They wanted soldiers who could still function when the plan falls apart, who could build a second plan when the first one breaks. And the thing he described, and I'm going off memory now, so this is my version of it, not the transcript, was that when they send someone out alone in the field, they don't get feedback. Not during and barely after. Whatever they do get is kept to the facts. Something like, you made it there in 10 minutes. That's it. No judgment, no verdict, just the facts. Because the whole point is you have to be able to hold yourself together without anyone telling you how you're doing. There's an actual word for this. Anti-fragile. Not just tough enough to survive a shock, but built to get stronger from it without needing someone else to hand you a verdict. He says artists run on the same wiring, and of course, that's the part that really landed for me. The ones who quit, and so many of them do, usually aren't the ones without talent. They're the ones who needed an outside voice to confirm they were good. And the second that voice went quiet or said the wrong thing, they didn't have anything underneath them to stand on. I think about Madonna this way. People who knew her before anyone knew her thought she was annoying, pushy, always trying too hard to be seen, and none of that mattered because she wasn't ever waiting for their verdict to know what she wanted. She just kept building. And then there's someone like Julianne Moore who took the opposite road entirely. Quiet, private, protective of her family, barely visible outside of the work itself. Two completely different tactics, but the same instinct running underneath both of them. Figure out your own internal operating system so nobody gets to be in charge of it. I can only really tell you my version of that, so here it is. I spent years in New York, going to audition after audition, walking into rooms full of people whose entire job that day was to have an opinion about me. And to be clear, that's not a flaw in the system. That is the system. The casting agents have opinions about who they bring in. The directors and producers have opinions about who casting brings them. It's opinion dripping down through every single level of the process. I tell this to young actors all the time. If you think this business is going to protect your feelings, that's horse shit. You signed up to be looked at and judged. That was always the deal. And here's what I can trace. Looking back at it honestly now, every job I actually booked, I wasn't attached to the outcome. For instance, Scarlet Pimpernel. It's a clear example. I walked into that audition and I sang. They asked to look through my book and I sang one or two more songs. Then I was asked to vocalize up and down the scale so that they could see what the top of my range was. They said thank you and I left. I wasn't performing for anyone's verdict. I was just present. Clearly, something was distracting me that day. Nan Knight, who wrote the book, didn't like me. Something about my nose ring. I didn't get the job. The other girl did. And then she turned out to be a handful backstage. At least that's what the cast shared with me when I was finally on the show. Which is how I ended up getting called in to try on the costume. It fit, and then I found out I'd booked the job in probably the weirdest way I've ever booked anything. But that's a whole other story, and I've told it in another video. I'll try to remember to link it below. What followed was the rehearsal process. And if you've ever done it, being a swing or a replacement in a Broadway show is challenging, not for the faint of heart. You are learning every track, every position, every lyric for multiple roles at once. And you have to be able to go on with zero margin for, oh, I think I remember. Kudos to every swing who's ever done that work. It is a specific, brutal skill, and it does not get enough respect, period. And the first time that I actually went on for Helene, this small bit of singing in a prison scene, oh, my voice, chef's kiss. It landed exactly where it needed to land. Christine Andreas found me afterward and was very complimentary. And yes, of course, it felt incredible. But the elation wasn't why the work was good. The work was good because back in the audition room, I hadn't been performing for anyone's verdict at all. And that's the whole thing, isn't it? Nobody drops you in the field and radios back, "You're doing great," every 5 minutes. Nobody is supposed to. You're the one who has to know. This isn't just an actress thing. It isn't just an artist thing. Nan Knight never liked me. Somebody didn't like Madonna before anyone knew who she was. Somebody, somewhere, has an opinion right now about the way you are raising your kids or running your business or showing up in your marriage or spending your money or living your life, and you will never hear most of it. And you could not control it if you did. That's not a flaw in the system. For anyone putting themselves into the world in any capacity, that is the system. Those opinions were never fully about me. They were about her. Whatever she was carrying on that day had nothing to do with me. Whatever opinions are circling you right now, chances are they are never fully about you either. So the real question isn't how do you get everyone in the room to approve of you? Hello, you can't. The question is whether you can still walk in and do the thing, sing with ease, make the decision, live that fucking life out loud without needing a single motherfucker to tell you if you're allowed to. Finding what's actually true for you and following it without asking anyone's permission first. They don't get a say. So, are you a quitter? Hell no.